this time I want to start off with getting the color. So this default gray is the one that was already inserted by Figma. I'm fine with it, so I'm just going to leave it alone. I might, if I wanted to, I could go ahead and turn it into a style. So under the fill where the color is being selected, I can go ahead and click on the style tab and say add style and just say gray. And I might put a hyphen and say placeholder, so I know that's like the placeholder gray. Right, that's optional. It's the default of Figma, so it's not really that necessary. But I have it just in case I really want to apply it. The other one is as you, on your sketches, you had a highlight, right? And you have, and we talked about in material design, there's the primary and secondary colors. So midway to that is I really just want to select the highlight color so I understand that's the thing that is clickable, because all this gray is really just placeholder, but it doesn't really tell me what is clickable. So I'm going to go ahead. I like having this gray blue. So I went ahead and put my PCCS color in here.
Are you going to send us a PDF?
The PNG?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to draw a little rectangle here. Take my eyedropper and I'm going to pick on this color. And now I'm going to add it as a style and just say primary. I'll say this is the blue. And just a small note, if you are, how many of you here are planning on a dark background for your app by show of hands? Undecided. So there's like 6-ish people. So at this stage on the wireframe, you should show that. Like the fill for these frames, you should have that dark background, okay, already. So keep that in mind. I'm doing a light background. I'm going to use this as my primary color, which is good enough for me. So I like having it off to the side, away from frames, so it won't be seen. But it's just a color swatch. I'm going to go ahead and rename this. Something I can remember, color primary. Okay. Another thing I'm going to do, you don't have to do this, but I'm going to change my submenu because both of these are icon-based buttons. But looking at some other people's here, Skies, she has some text-based buttons, not text-based, label-based buttons. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to erase these. And I want to do a text-based button. So we're going to talk about buttons now. I'm going to press the Type tool. And I'm going to do it outside of the frame. So this is going to be sort of my scratch area. So I'm going to move this out. I'm going to press T, click. I'm going to type in the word button. So at this point, you want to decide whether or not it's all caps, all lowercase, or title case. Skies has her as title case. I'm going to do the same. So it's going to be button like that. And so it's just a text, right? Let me zoom in. And I want to go ahead and apply the text style that I have. So it says title, but I actually want to make a new one. I'll call it button text. Create style. And I want it to be a little bit different, so I'm actually going to edit this. I'm going to make it no, that's too much. I'll make it medium. With a tiny bit of letter spacing. Just a smidge. Okay. Pause a little bit so you get that point. So again, just to recap, text tool, type in whatever you want to call your generic button, create a text style for it so you can change it later. So as people are doing that, keep in mind that every object on the frame can have a interaction attached to it. So just this alone, I could just use this as is and have it work. But there is a special technique with doing text buttons, and it's pretty cool. So with this, I'm going to make sure I have it be text align center. On Sky's, she has hers always aligned to the left, so she might choose text align left for all her buttons. I'm going to do center for now on mine. And I'm going to turn this into an auto layout. So even though it's just one little thing, I'm just going to press Shift A. Again, Shift A. And now it is a special frame. Turned into a frame. I'm going to go ahead and press Command R to rename that frame. I'm going to call it button. So again, Command R to rename that. And now I want to have a color. So I'm going to go to the fill of this button. Click on the style and press on my primary blue. So now it's filled in with that primary blue. Now, as I size this button, it will always be aligned to the top left, as noted here on the auto layout. I actually want it to be always centered in the middle. So I'm going to click on the center one. This one here. So again, I'm going to just undo that. I'm going to automatic, it's on the top left on my situation. I'm going to click on align center. That way, no matter what the size is, the text and the placement of that text within its auto layout frame will always be centered. Okay. So as we learned on my fantastic whiteboard drawing, if this is X, and let's say this is 10, then on the side, I'd want it to be double that, right? So here, I can click on this and make it 20, and this one also 20. Or I can hover this and hold down the Option. You can see the other side. When I click on the Option key, I'm selecting both the left and right margins or internal padding. I can adjust it that way. But I'm just going to do 10 and 20 for now. And the other, okay, I'm going to pause here. I don't want to go too quickly. Okay, so for some of you, you want a pure 90-degree rounded corner. Others want a slight round, right? So while I have this auto layout frame button selected, I can go ahead and affect the corner radius of all of them. So on Sky's design, she has a very slight curve like that. And maybe that's what she's going for. My situation, if we look at the material design ones, they're material design 3 specifically, they're fully rounded, right? So pretty easy. If the height is 30, then we know that the corner radius for those will be 15. So I'm going to put 15 here, get a full circle. And for me, I like this design, so I'm going to go with this. And since it's auto layout, I can have, yeah, okay. Let's go to the next thing. Is everybody caught up to here? kind of. There was extra detail, but at the end of the day, all I'm asking is take the type tool, type in your word, unclick, and then while that's selected, press Shift A, turn it into auto layout, and then put a color fill on the background of it. Okay, that's really the lesson at its core. Okay, now I want to turn this into a component, which is this little thing up here, the four-leaf clover looking thing. It's the same thing as symbols in Illustrator. So you basically make a symbol and make instances. The advantage of this is basically the same thing as a style. You change one, and it changes them all. So I'm going to click on Create Component. It is now purple. And the icon, which before was an auto layout icon for the layer, has turned into the clover diamonds, the 4 diamonds looking thing. And now under Assets, all your components is now automatically within this document as a component. So you can click and drag these things out here and it'll be an instance of that, right? So it's reusable. I'm gonna go ahead and delete that. Okay, next. Now this is a little bit tricky. This is unique to Figma. We are going to create the different states. So this button it's clickable, but it's not going to change colors if you hover over or tap on it. We are going to do that now. I'm going to, in fact, let me just go ahead and drag an asset. So here it is. I'm going to drag it to my submenu like this. I can just press play on that particular screen and you can see it there, so it's working. But I hover over it, click on it, there's no visual change, right? So now that's what I want to do. So I'm going to go back to my component one and just keep track of what is an instance and a symbol. If it's fully colored, that's the master component. So whatever you edit here changes everything. The instances are an empty diamond. These are the copies. Okay, so you don't want to edit this one. You want to edit the master one over here. What I'm going to do is click on this, then go to Properties and create component properties. So click on plus and add a variant. So plus variant. So again, making sure you're clicking on the component, not the artwork on the inside.
You can't see the properties button.
Make sure you're on the design.
We are in design.
It's under all the sizing, and under sizing it says button, and then under button.
Yeah, I'm recording it, so hopefully it'll. You select the artwork and press the thing up here.
Okay, yeah, it's not working.
Okay. Click on the name. Then scroll up. Oh, I see what you did there. So if I look at the icon here, it's not actually one. So okay, so you made the button on the inside component. So
Well, they also have
go ahead and double.
full-on like watermelon wedge shape.
Oh, I thought you meant anything else, sorry. I'm like, I love the downtown temple.
That one's the pretentious one.
That one's not Risley. The
Oh,
one
you
you're
mean
talking
the
about is Fox.
That one was by the Adams stages? Yeah, by the wow zone.
Yeah. That place overwhelms me.
Okay. So that's back to normal. I don't know exactly what I erased. Just like click on the frame and then press that. Now you have the properties.
Yeah, the downtown one is
Am I gonna link the properties? I don't even remember at this point.
So you had it. You need to do it on the frame and not the text. That's essentially it. So there was an issue where the component was added to the text box, but not the frame. You want to do it to the frame. Okay, so going back, select the component, click on properties, click on variant, and now you should see like this purple dotted thing. And it says, say, the variant name is property one, and it says default. We want to change the property one. So I'm going to double click on that, type in the word primary for primary button. Okay, and we'll just say, we'll leave default alone. So this is what the default style of the primary button looks like. So I'll do it again. Click on the button here. Property, variant, double click property one, change it to type. Hit enter. Oh wait, not type, sorry. Oh wait, yeah, sorry. Change it instead of primary, change it to the word type. Apologies. So change it to the word type. Double click it on again, say type. And then where it says default, wait, I just want to make sure. Just a second. Let me check my notes. No, yeah, it is. Okay. Yeah. Here's the component. Click on that. Type, click on properties plus. Add variant. Change property one to type. And hit enter. Yeah. And then okay, we got there? Okay. So this is a special component that has different states for buttons. So I want you to click on the inside. So you're selecting this whole button, right? Not just the text, but the whole button. And you'll see here on the left-hand side, it says default. So we said that the thing is typed and it's set to default, so that says default. But I want you to go over here on the right and say rename default to the word primary. So this will be your primary button. So change the word default to primary. So it should say type primary. Once you do that, on the left, it'll say primary now.
Oh, okay.
The spacing here is just automatic. If yours feels a little constrained, you can just change the size of the box. All right. Next, click back on the button component, and then where it says one variant. There's a little plus sign for add variant. You're going to click on add variant that copies that. Select this one where it says type 2. Wait, hang on just a second. Sorry, we're not going to, it's like click. So once you do that, add one variant, go back to the component over here, and we want to add a state. So we're going to add a state to the properties of the whole component. So click on plus, variant, come over here, plus and variant. And this time, where it says property, type in the word status. And the value, we're going to say hover. Oh, status. And create property. And you should see, when you click on the component, type and hover on them. So I'll do that again. Go back. I'm going to go back all the way back here. Click on the plus variant. Click on component. Click on plus. Add variant. Status. We'll do hover. Create property. Now, click on the second one down below and change the way it looks. So instead of primary blue for the fill, I'm actually going to white. Hang on.
Is there a reason why you renamed this as a hover?
Yes, there is. So we'll change the state. Well, I need to change the visuals, and I might have skipped a step. Hang on. Let me figure something out. Because I want to change the color. I think I might have missed a step. Let me check my practice. Let me create a second color. Okay, no, it's fine. Okay, so going back, selecting the one that I'm going to say, hey, it's going to look like this when it's hovering. I select that particular one, change the color. So I'm going to go to my gray placeholder color, make it look like that. Right, so I'm just switching between the two styles. If you don't have that and you want to click on plus and you want to make a new color because you didn't do it, then that's fine. And then if I double click on it, I'm actually selecting the text now. And on that one, I'm going to turn it into primary blue. So I have this one and this one, right? Okay, so visually it looks different. Going to finish up a little bit here. So on the second one here, I'm having the whole thing selected where it says type 2 by default. I'm going to rename type 2. and have it be primary. Because it's still the primary button, just a primary hover. So again, this is primary. That should be, I want this one to be default and then this one to be on hover. So I messed up somewhere. So this one here, and change this value to be default for the status. And then this one here, hover. So when you click on these two, current variant, primary hover, primary default, primary hover, have those two things selected. Sorry for the hiccup, but that's the end result. Right, so it's the primary button, default, and hover version. How many people did I lose so far? Yeah, sorry. Okay, I'll do it again from the beginning. Let me finish this train of thought because so close to me, and I'll start over again. Right? I think because if you understand why I'm doing it this way, it might click for some. So I have essentially just one button that when I hover over it, it'll look like the one below it. Okay? So after that, you go to prototype and you click on this and you drag it down. And it says while hovering. So instead of on tab, I go to while hovering. It'll be instant. And I'm done. So this little thing that I have here, when I preview it, hang on. Gosh darn it. Get rid of you.
I don't know.
What did you do?
No idea.
Let's try that center. Right, so it switches. Let me try it back again. So when I hover over it, the color would change. Okay, that's what we're aiming for. Okay, so that's what we're trying to do. Okay, so it's shifting between the two. So let me do it again. Let me erase this, and because I'm not sure where I lost people, so I'm going to just go back. Yeah. Okay, I'm just going to make us start again. Type tool, click, button. Click on that, Shift A, so it's an auto layout. Have a color. In this case, I am choosing primary blue. Then select this. I'm going to rename it. Then press component. Press component. So now it's a component that I want different hovering, press, different states on it. So here, going to go to the properties, add variant. That turns it into this special component that has variants. Change that first property 1 to type and keep it at default. Then on variant, click on the plus sign. Here's my second one. Select that. Make it visually different. So I'm going to click on a different style. I'm going to change, double click on the type. Change the type to the primary blue color. So now here's what my hover one looks like. So the type here, instead of type 2, I'm going to call it type hover. Right, so on the top one should be type default. Sorry, not default. Primary, this is primary. And the one on below, this one's also primary. So this is a primary button. That's going to be primary on. This is going to be primary hover. We're going to add this status, the state next. Okay, so both of these are type primary. So now I want to add status, whether it's default or hover. I'm going to go back to the component, the full component. Click on the plus, variant. In this case, I'm going to type in status. Create the property, so it's status default. So on this one, it's status default. Great. Click on the second one. On this one, I'm going to add a new status. Going to call it hover. So now I have a primary default and a primary hover. Then go to prototype. Click on the top one. Look for the blue icon here, plus icon. Click and drag down. And then change this to while hovering. And we want to make sure that it's going to the primary hover, which it is. And just have it be instant. And you're done with that component. So then all you have to do now is go to your assets and click and drag it onto the stage. Then when you test it, you should see it hovering version. Okay, let me go around. Yeah. So, wait, is it my 8? Yes. Let me make sure it's
Probably.
so where are you at?
Anyways,
Okay, that's status change this to default. So click on add new, it'll say default. Click on this one, we want this one to be primary hover, so that's great. Okay, now click on the prototype tab. Click on this one. And click on oh yeah, so it's there. Just click on that and pull it down to there. That's it. Then change it from on tap to while hovering. Great. You're done. Now you just need to put it on one of the screens. So go to your assets, go to a screen, and just drag it onto, drag that thing somewhere. I'm gonna test it.
how do you do the play button in the top right?
Okay. Oh, this one. Okay, great. Okay, so that's good news is we don't have anything. So you click on the one there. Yeah, click on properties. Click there in. Type in type.
I still can't do it.
And then type values primary.
When you hover over it,
And create property. Great. Now click on the button. And that should say click on that.
Yeah.
Oh. I don't know. Go back to your okay, click on that.
Yeah, I'm
Command
really,
R.
I'm not sure anymore.
Sure.
figure out.
I'd have to look at the. Yeah.
What?
It gets so
I'm just saying. Yeah, but my first time in school.
I don't know, I guess it depends. But it doesn't last.
Is that the smoke shop?
So there's smoke screen next to the one I went to that had like the 10 million ones and less parking.
So I need to press that.
I think the Uber's like. Yeah, the one time they actually have
And
so
then.
when I went to work, I got.
I was gonna say, I don't even think that counts.
Fucking 25.
That's a nice vehicle.
Holy fuck.
For the big bags. Let's go.
There's like
It was Delta 9.
Oh, it's back.
No, it's 50. So, okay, so the law is you're only allowed to sell 50 milligrams in the store.
There's literally $19 in store.
The lab business.
That's so
is
embarrassing.
like,
Somebody's definitely gonna buy it.
Yeah, people definitely.
I won't even get high.
Oh, so now what you need to do is put your button in something so that you can.
I think she got rid of highlight. Yeah, she definitely had a bunch of surgeries. Which is weird because she was like probably the prettiest girl in the party. Well, no, it's hard to not tell she was like the whole top of her face looks like completely flat. Like it got rid of her like
But that's because she literally couldn't see like her eyes. Her eyes were like literally this, and she's so embarrassed that she had to get it done. But she was like, I want to just
That is so funny, like one of those like fast.
yeah, because like the skin, you know.
Yeah. These are the
I
ones
felt
I
so
don't think
bad.
that's what Ariana got.
Yeah, no, definitely not.
This one is 32 grams. I'm having this
So if there's 2,000 milligrams in the whole thing and there's 20 gummies, that would mean that each is 100, right?
Yeah, you're gonna get fucked.
Yeah.
Wait, is it Delta 9 though? Is it
Delta 9.
Delta 8 is Delta 9.
Look at this. Cool.
I usually split them, I think split them in
Hey Seiji, I'm sorry, but I have to leave early today. Is this it?
Yeah.
I was gonna show how to make eye contact.
I was like, what the fuck is trying?
It's an awesome crime video.
typed in Delta.
So,
Yeah, because this is the shit that I have. They actually gave it to me for free. The guy was like,
You're having this.
yeah, and then he was like, people that have disabilities also like it, and I was like, okay, well, and then he was like, it wasn't more than I spent, I was like, I don't know, I just spent like $500 on a tattoo, I don't know if I want to do that.
Yeah.
And then he was like,
Nice.
clear, nothing valid.
I was in Minneapolis at a tattoo convention.
I was told today that Matt
Yeah,
Wilson
no,
made this like broken ass
I'm not exactly sure how why it's a problem.
He's like, yeah, I almost got
I'd have to look it up, but yeah, you can set it, operate it. Yeah. So right now, I got the slight where it says.
They were pregnant.
You'll look
She
at
found out
it.
in like
And
yeah, I see in July.
Add new property, this time, you type in status, and then leave one as default, and the other one add new number.
I've never been working on. I wish I
Okay, who else?
could coordinate myself as a kid. because I'm still bring it on make sure that it's good.
Bring it on, fuckers.
Broke up the shaky on me fucking everybody else.
Actually, no, my lines are pretty good.
Check this out, guys.
I'm just take out something about.
your mom.
No, I actually
Not at all, but you can
Well,
just
this
have,
child is going to suffer.
Oh, for sure.
Probably the kids like gonna end up seeing the sex ed. That's what I was thinking about.
how much was it? Like $35. And yeah, and it came with ink, fake skin, and the caps that you put the ink in. Transfer paper. Came with like basically. No, yeah. Cause I gave myself a charcoal too. It was like, you know, when you put your stuff in guy that would be I love it.
Like a little
I might have to touch up some.
logo right here. Maybe that's
I think that's normal. Our Hogwarts mystery guide. I want to name her skin takes.
And then this one was originally a stick and poke. I went over it.
Yeah, I just.
you seem like the type that would have voice
Yo, that's sick.
I actually didn't. I just didn't really pay attention to that. thing. I was like, I was like, oh, that's something that happened.
I don't know. I kind of agree with her, but I was also like, I have like
Wait, what? What did she even say?
seven
Something that
people like big.
I think she's saying that, like,
I have a tooth on my foot. A triangle on my foot. This shitty one that my friend
They're
did,
like about females bleeding, and I was
that I
like,
love.
yeah, true, because
This one.
yeah, because I.
Did she also? Well, I thought this whole.
1, 2, 3,
Because she said somebody in the
4,
back.
5, 6.
And I was
Yeah, that's not. No, that wasn't a thing. Yeah, that's what I.
They were saying it's,
My best friend
yeah,
Mary
that,
has
the
a
bleeding thing was transposed, and I got that was.
That's really
She
sweet.
works at the house.
Now go to properties.
It would be great. She was like, trans woman and arm woman, but that's not what she said. She's like, people with vaginas, like, bleed. So true, girl.
Between tattoos and piercings and tattoos,
Now,
because they heal, you never have to think about it ever again.
Yeah. I saw that. Wait.
property one.
No.
Property one.
I don't believe anything. It's so funny because like when like people take photos, I'll like pretend to get really mad at him and I'm like, what? I'm like, and I'll look at him and I start busting out laughing. I think it's so mad because he's
If I knock my eyes, it's like not infected, but they're just mad at me.
It's like a big old scary demon face.
Well, you have a
I
picture
can
of
see
it?
one thing back.
I was just on that train.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
And it didn't look good in pictures.
Alright.
Oh, okay.
No, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, I get it.
you take a picture and you're like, wow, it looks like shit.
Wow.
20 minutes! Told you.
Yes, I go there every week. Usually Friday. Menards, but like across the street.
I love it.
Guys, sometimes I just have this dream of the zombie apocalypse happens and the first place I go is to a furniture store and every day I like switch basement and I feel like I'm in a different room because you know how they have all those little sections where like you can do this when you're in the wrong
Yeah.
Would that not be so funny? My sister's
I've
like,
told you so many times.
I think I might come out.
mine really?
Not
Yeah,
asking
probably.
for failed. The proper advice.
That's the first place I'm going.
My sister is
You made
my
it.
sister's straight and she tells me all the time. I'm like, why? You can't say that. And she's like, yes, I can. I'm
The
like,
one that I read was
Oh, she wasn't reading that one,
Oh.
but she was reading this book, and like she wasn't referring to that one. She was like,
I don't take offense to the word unless somebody's genuinely saying it from a place of hatred.
so bad reading it
So
because
it's like, there was some guy that's like yelled at me
and she's like,
out of like a truck
if
or
I'm reading
something,
this,
and
I'm
like,
literally
oh,
feeling
that's
so
sad.
much.
That makes me
But we started an argument in the store, and then once they were done,
Yeah, you do.
telling me
Yeah,
that
you
she
do.
was like, she
Not a lot.
She's
Not a lot.
She's like,
This year,
she's like, I play D&D and I love the
twice
house,
a
but that's
month.
all I want to do is like be in a hunter gatherer type of scenario where I'm foraged. You're like almost 30. What is happening? She's like, I just don't feel like I'm ready for this.
I love imagining the girl who will say, I do that now, but like with an reaction. So like she'll say something, and I'm like, I'm just gay. They're all funny.
Yes.
Now we're gonna play.
It doesn't work today because our place
I'm just kidding.
Yeah, no. All right.
Immediate fail.
Hey, like 15 minutes. Okay. All right, let's do the next thing. So that's a button. We finished our button. You can actually have multiple of these because it's an asset, so you can click and drag more of these or just hold down the Option key and click and drag. And because of how we made it, we can actually edit the names of these. So I can say activities. And then this one's something else. Meals. Active.
Oh, that's what makes you shut your camera.
All right.
No, I tried it once and my dad always.
All right, and we have them already set, so that way you can go and advance the screen, and you see all that, right? Okay, now let's go ahead and prototype the additional frames. This was just a quick demo on doing this. The main thing here is getting this screen to advance automatically to this screen. So we're going to deal no longer in the design. We're dealing with interactivity, so we're going to be clicking on the prototype tab. Click on the logo, and you see these on any object. On the top, left, right, and bottom will be these little blue dots that appear. You click and drag it to where you want it to go. I want it to advance to the loading screen, and then let go, and then the interaction detail will show up. I don't want people to click on it. I just want it to be automatic. So I'm going to say after a delay of maybe 2 seconds, so that's 2,000 milliseconds, just automatically, instantly go. I'm going to do a dissolve. And say done. So again, that's prototype. I'm going to do it one more time. Prototype, hover over the object that you want to add interactivity. Click the plus, drag it to the next screen, let go. Change it from on tap to after delay. Type in 2,000 milliseconds for 2 seconds. And I changed mine to dissolve. You can keep it at instant. I'm going to do mine as dissolve. And that's it. So then I can press play, wait 2 seconds, and it should advance automatically. So that looks good. Then I'm going to do it again to the loading one. So I'm going to click on prototype, hover, click on this frame, click and drag again. I want it to be automatic again, so I'm going to do the exact same thing. After delay of about 2 seconds, dissolve. And that's good. If you want to test it each time, you can. I'm going to press R for rewind. There we go. So 2 seconds, advances forward. You're not going to see any of these interaction if you're on the wrong tab. Design doesn't do anything because you're just designing. You're changing the way it looks. So adding interactivity, if you don't see any of these blue little dots, always make sure you're on the prototype tab. Then anything that you hover over it, once you select it, you'll see the blue things pop up. right? So you can add it to a text box. You can add interactivity to any object. So in this case, I'm going to do it to the first button over here. Click and drag it to the next screen, like that. This time, I want it to be on tap. So I'm tapping it, and it advances. And for fun, you can just make sure, hey, it's navigating to the sub-menu frame. And yes, that is correct. That's what I want it to. There's other options, but we want to do navigate to. This time I'm going to do smart animate. This is going to do some quick animations. No, not smart animate. Sorry, I'm going to do one of these. So I'm going to either do move in, like have it move in like that. If I do push, so it's going to push the screen out. I think I like this one, so it feels like I'm sliding back and forth. So I'm going to keep it like that. And let's test that. So advanced, I should be able to click on this top one. If you're not sure what you can click on, always click on the outside and it'll flash as blue. Those are the clickable items. So click on that and you see it shift over. Right, and then so if I want to do the next one on prototype activities, just click and drag, and we just keep doing this. This one, maybe I don't want push. Maybe I want to do a slide in. You don't want to get too carried away. So I guess I'll just keep it consistent push. So again, let me take a look. And then press play, click on that, and you'll see it slide through. All right, so kind of mess around with some of those. What's wrong? You have to actually click on it. Yeah, click on the actual object. Now you see that. Now you see it. See it? Yeah. That's all you have to do. So if you added one already, just click on the outside, and you can select that. Actually, just click the arrow itself, and then you can just press delete. You make a mistake. There you go. Now you can click on the circle that you actually want. Yeah. So sometimes it's just you're not zoomed in enough.
I'm still not entirely sure how to make it change colors when you hover.
Oh, okay. I think half the class is like that, so I'm going to try and make a video, but it looks good. Let me click select that. Let me check what it says. Okay, that's pretty good. It's not 100% right, but you have the two.
Well, we get
And then click on the top one.
press these Monday a week.
Click the
40.
bottom one.
We have to get
Okay, so on this
okay,
one,
do 40. Do 40
click on the top one.
times.
We're going to change the status to default, so click on this
40 divided
and
by
add new.
2,
Wait,
which is
yeah.
20. So we
And
get
type in
20.
word default.
Don't. If we got one donut,
Okay,
and
now
we got a
click on
smoothie here, and we
those
would
two,
get 20.
and then go back on top one. The top one. Change.
Oh, 4 times 2, so we get 80 donuts
We're gonna
for
double
the year,
click on
and
that.
that's
Click on
minus
that.
1.
Okay.
So,
Okay, change where it's
80
property one, and change
because
that
there's
wording
12 weeks
to
of summer
type.
most of the time, and then so there's 52 weeks in the year, 40.
And
There's
now
40
click
weeks
on
in
the
school
top
year.
one
I don't know how many weeks winter
and
is. You could
change
bring
that
it
default
it's like
to the word primary.
36. Yeah. Okay, so 36
And
times
change
2,
the bottom one
which is
to the word
72. And if we
primary.
got one donut,
There you go.
2 days a week.
Perfect. Now we just want to add interactivity, so click on the prototype,
$1.50.
click on the top one, and you want to grab, you might want to
So
zoom
we
in.
spend about $54.
Okay.
And
Now
sometimes we
hover
go on
over
weekends.
that.
So
Click and
we
drag.
yeah.
There you go. Go. Say while hovering.
Coffee, right?
Well, we do that.
Perfect. And that's it.
How does one
So it should be working. So what you want to do is zoom out and
we should go
and you want to go to your assets
small wizards.
and drag it
You
to
bet.
your screen somewhere. And now you can press it. see a second one, you just can control it that way.
Like,
This is eventually
no.
What I almost failed,
They should always be on the same
programming.
flow. So
Which is
some kind of
cool.
interaction can be seamless.
That's
to that.
interesting.
No problem.
That's really cool.
So cool.
So whenever you make an interaction, it'll give you an option of what you might want to do for it sometimes. But as long as you're doing it okay.
So I just have to do it in the chain.
Yeah. So when you zoom in though, you don't necessarily want to
No. That was just.
There's so much code.
What's that one? That app where you can sing with somebody and karaoke, like There's a video on the internet of Sydney using that. Oh my god.
Please.
She was singing Hallelujah.
Please find it.
I'm trying. I know I found it before, but because we've been best friends for 11 years. We're next door neighbors.
Like, change automatically.
Growing up.
Type one by type.
She just remembers Sydney. I mean, she still thinks we're sports, but hey, we are so pretty close friends. The more I grew up, the more I realized she's literally
Why is that automatic? It's all the way to 0.
she became
And then, wait a second. And then change this. There's two options. Why this one? The other one says other type. So you want to change the car style. Usually that's one side.
Is she a good singer? Oh my god, I found it. Stop.
Stop.
It was kind of long ago. It was August 2020. 2020.
Okay. The last thing, which I think I'm just going to have to show instead of you following, but it's to make the icons. So let's say I don't want to do this, and I actually want to start doing the icons. It's the same thing as this. You just have to do it with icons instead. So if I were to pull something from a plugin, let's do material design. Click and drag. A little person here, which based on the layers here has a rectangle, which I don't need. And I just want the actual vector. So I'm going to pull that out of the frame. So here is my little person, just the vector. Press Shift-A to turn it into an auto layout. So same steps. So I'm going to take that auto layout, make it centered automatically, put a full corner radius, and then change a color on it. And let me try and make this. Do it like that so it's full. Now this whole thing, turn it into a component. Add the same thing. So variant, change property to the word type. And click on the item on the inside. Change that to the word primary, since it'll be my primary button. Go back to the component, add a variant. This one's, make sure the type switches to primary. Then on this one, since it's hover, I'm going to change the color. So it'll be gray. And now on the whole component, add another variant, status. So this one should be primary, type primary, status default. This one is going to be the same, except for default, I want to turn it to hover. Since hover doesn't exist, I'm going to add hover. So add new, hover, done. Now I just need to prototype it. Click on this one, click on the blue, drag it, let go while hovering. Done. So now I can go ahead and bring this here. Maybe I'll just put it on top here. Let me delete this one, bring this one back up here, drag this over here. That looks good. Press play. So now I have the hover of the icon, click, and it'll take me over here. So same steps, just with an icon this time. Okay, I will make videos and post it. Again, your only assignment is to make the wireframes, make it clickable. We're looking for one major task, but to be honest, if you do more, it becomes easier and easier, right? So, any questions? Have a good spring break.